Hey, what's going on, beautiful people? So one of the most common things that I get asked via email is how to set up a rod and reel, how to set up a rod and reel for specific species of fish or types of fishing. So what I'm going to do is a series of videos on how to set up a rod and reel for beginners for different species. Today's species is going to be larger snook. Now what I have before you here is the Salina 6000 HA by Okuma. Just got this shipment in. It's a very nice reel, very solid. Can't wait to use this throughout 2023 fishing season. I also got the PCH Custom. This particular PCH Custom is a 701H. So it's a 7-foot, 20 to 40 pound class. Absolutely gorgeous. It's got that carbon look, but very, very strong and very reasonable in price as well. But I'm going to show you how to set it up. Super simple. If you have never done it before, this is going to be a great rod and reel for pier fishing. You could beach fish or around jetties for larger fish, throw bucktails, things like that. Let's jump in and I'm going to show you how I rig up the Spro line. Your very first step is going to be to add your line. If you're using braid, I highly recommend that you use a monofilament backing, at least 10 or 15 yards or so. And what that does is it allows the monofilament to connect onto the spool. It stretches and really tightens down on the spool and prevents slippage. So that way, for example, if you were to just apply braid to this and you didn't make sure it was super tight, then what could happen is your drag would become obsolete and the entire amount of braid would slip on the spool, not allowing the drag to engage properly, and that is not what you want. So add a little bit of backing on the monofilament, especially if you have a reel that doesn't have a rubber grommet. Like this one has no rubber grommet here, therefore it's highly advised that you add that monofilament. So the Salina is a great candidate for large snook fishing. It holds 320 yards of 40-pound test line, has a 5/8 to 1 gear ratio, but it has a dual force drag that features 33 pounds of drag to really turn those fish when you're near structure. Overall, just a really solid reel. You can utilize that arbor knot. If you're not familiar with how to tie an arbor knot, I made a very quick and simple tutorial showing you how to do that. Just click that video right there. It'll also, the link will be down in the description, and it'll be in my knot playlist. But as you can see here, I added some of that monofilament. 10 to 15 yards is plenty and all that you need. Alright, so now what you want to do is connect your braid to your monofilament with a Uni Knot. Now I have a knot tutorial on this particular knot as well, but it's fairly simple. You'll hold your two lines parallel to one another and make a loop first in the braid. Once you make that loop in the braid, go ahead and wrap your line about 7 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you got to remember that went around both the braid and the monofilament. Pull your tag in and your main line tight simultaneously and you're going to get a beautiful knot that looks like that. Now what you want to do is the same thing, but now we're going to use the monofilament. Show you what that looks like. Make the same loop. You see your braid and your monofilament, then you're going to make the 7 wraps in that same loop. Now if you want a more in-depth tutorial, I highly suggest you watch my knot video on the Uni Knot. Use a little saliva with this monofilament. So you can see here that I went ahead and trimmed the tags, and that is exactly what you want it to look like. So one of the most important aspects of adding fishing line to a reel is to make sure that the line is tight. Now the best way, in my opinion, is to take your reel or wherever you buy your reel, see if they actually can put the line on via a machine. That machine will make sure it's super tight. Now braid obviously doesn't stretch, but you still want to make sure that it goes on the spool properly and evenly and tight. So what I have here is a little contraption that will actually help you do that. It's not required, but I'll link the link down in the description. It's a cool little tool, and let me show you why. It holds the spool for you, it keeps the line taut, and it helps prevent line twist. I've set it up here on my little line spooler. 50-pound Spro, and look at this. It's going on evenly, it's going on tight. Give you a little workout too, because it is so tight. Like, you can't appreciate how tight this little contraption is right now. One of the key things that you want to be sure that you're not doing if you're spooling this yourself is not overfilling the spool. If you do and you go past that little lip indicator, you are going to have a world of problems. You're going to have lots of entanglements, lots of wind knots, and it's going to be very frustrating. So sometimes it's better to put on a little less than a little more. Just remember that. Now, once we get the line on the reel, I'm going to go ahead and put the reel back onto the rod that I plan to use. And in this case, it's the PCH Custom. I loosen my drag by turning counterclockwise on my reel, and then this will allow me to pull the line off the reel without having a excess line spring off the reel. Now what you want to do is run the line through each individual guide, and you want to make sure that you don't miss a guide. So running through each guide, just like you see here, all the way to the very last one. Give yourself some excess line to play with. There you go. Look at that. That's a sexy little outfit, is it not? All right, now the leader is going to be dependent on, so you have to have a leader, either a fluorocarbon or monofilament leader, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. Fluorocarbon leader has a tendency to be a little less bouncy, or has a little less stretch, but it's also more invisible, so to speak, under the water. So that's why a lot of people like fluorocarbon. Monofilament has a little more stretch, but it's a little more visible underneath the water. So what you want to do is go ahead and apply a monofilament leader or a fluorocarbon leader using a Uni Knot. Same knot that you tied on from your monofilament to your braid, you're going to use that knot to tie on for your snook fishing. So here we are, the Uni Knot, pulling down the leader. This is all going to tighten up, button up very good. Then we're going to go ahead and trim our tags. Use your handy tool. Got my little Okuma cutters. Trim your tags real close. This knot is not going to fail if you tie it properly. You could trim those very, very tight. Now, depending on what you're fishing for and how you're fishing, in this particular instant, I'm going to be throwing this Spro Pro jig with a Spro curly tail. Now, this is a great choice if you're in the surf with mullet, or if you're near docks where a lot of finger mullet like to run by. There's, a lot of people think that this lure might be too big. Well, a 20-pound snook can eat this with ease, guys. And that's one of the reasons you see flare hawks being so prevalent and effective in jetties and along the beaches, because big jigs, big baits catch big snook. Now, anytime you're tying a lure onto your jig or onto your line, I highly recommend that you do a loop knot. Check out my playlist for a loop knot if you want to know how to do this. Very effective knot, but the reason you tie a loop knot, guys, is because it allows the lure to work freely and to get the most movement and action. And there it is. Got the setup. This is it's a beautiful setup. I could use this for live baiting. I can use this for artificial for larger snook. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up, comment below, subscribe. If you want to see me put it to use to catch some jumbo snook on this outfit, let me know. But this is a beginner's guide on how to set up a perfect snook outfit, a perfect larger snook outfit that's going to work in various different applications. So I hope you enjoy. Hey guys, till next time, I'll see you on the water.